Ladies and gentlemen, we're here.
I'm part of the Kliq, isn't everybody?
Yes! 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 I got an idea, yeah. Beat up John Cena!
Give me a hell yeah!
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Too sweet! Here goes the mother! This is where the power lies!
I am the man.
Beat me if you can! Come on!
It's showtime, folks!
The following episode is scheduled for one fall, and it is for your listening pleasure. This is In The Kliq.
What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, and joining me once again is my brother, Tommy. How you doing?
I'm good.
And also joining us is our good brother from Pro Wrestling 101 on Instagram. It's Richard. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you doing, Daniel?
I'm doing
Tommy?
awesome.
Hey, good. Yeah.
It was, dude, a busy week.
What did you do this week? Anything
hung out with you. That's what I did.
Oh,
I started my week on a high note, which was hanging out with you, going to the Chase Center for Monday Night Raw, live and in person.
that was this week.
Yeah, that was this week. I mean, well, here we are.
I saw the photos the videos you posted. I was thinking, God, I was sitting like right there.
I know. And by the way, I got your message. I need to update. I was in a hurry just uploading everything. And so I got to add some captions and tags and all that stuff.
No one knows who any of those people are without it.
I know.
They're lost without it.
I would love it.
That looks like Xavier Woods, but I can't tell for sure.
Well, that's the thing. So, yeah, thank you for the reminder. Please, Kliqsters, if you haven't, follow us on social media, especially on Instagram at In The Kliq. You can see videos. I try to do a mixture of uploading like normal videos, the IGTV and the Reels. But yeah, you can see the videos of where we sat at Monday Night Raw. Thank you to WWE for hooking us up with Third Row. That was an amazing, fun experience. So
they're much better seats than the seats that Xavier Woods was giving out.
Oh, I gotta tell Tommy. Tommy doesn't know. I gotta tell him later.
Let's tell him off the air.
Yeah, tell him off the air. But thank you for
Tommy, you had fun at Monday Night Raw, right?
No, he was at home watching the Giants.
I thought he had a ticket.
He was there in spirit. That's why I posted.
That's
so
right.
many
We
videos.
were there with the Brian Tronic and his son that I beat in 2 races. I'm undefeated against a 10-year-old.
So yeah, no, shout out to Brian Tronic, who's also
Charles. Who's a sore loser.
Charlie.
He's a sore loser. It's Charles.
What happened? Where were you guys racing?
Well, I asked him if he wanted to race after I had somewhat of a head start, but I thought a child could catch up. You know, that's what happened.
Because you were going down the escalator or something.
I think we went up a flight of stairs and then down a flight of stairs.
Yeah, no, but it was a lot of fun. So yeah, the 4 of us, you, me, Brian Tronic, and his son Charlie, we went out there to the Chase Center.
It's Charles.
Yeah, it's Charles. First time out there for me in a couple years. I think last time was like a Warriors game or something. Tommy, you and I were there for Metallica a couple years ago, but
last time we were there was for Joe Coy.
Oh, Joe Coy. That's right. Early 2020. That's right. Yeah. That's right. So, it was fun. It's, I guess we should tell the Kliqsters what we try to do. So, WWE sent me the tickets and I saw it was Third Row. And, I told you, Richard, in advance. I told Brian. And then I told Brian, don't tell your son where we're sitting. And so him and his son never sat that close before. And so, since he's 10 years old, it's like, let's play a little trick with him, have fun with him. So when we met up with them, we're like, I sat down and Richard kept saying I was like a coach's prep talk.
Yeah, he was sitting in a chair, but he wasn't doing it with the chair turned backwards like he should have. I had to do that.
I told him, I was like, listen, man, listen, our seats are in the 200 section. I don't like sitting that high up. We need to sneak down to the floor. So we're going to use you as a kid just to guilt trip our way up front. Yeah. And so, like, act like we belong, just keep walking. And he's like, okay. So, and that's the thing, the tickets, everything's digital now. So the tickets were on my phone. So he didn't know where we were going to sit at. And so we went in and I said, Charlie, you got to walk in front of me, man. You got to keep walking. And so,
he had no idea what was going on.
No, that's the thing with security.
He's just like, oh, they're just letting us through. It's working.
Yeah, it's working. It kept going. I showed security real quick, and they're like, okay, keep going. And I told Charlie, dude, they just keep letting us keep walking. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And then finally we sat down, and he's like, whoa, oh my God, it's like third row. Like the ring is right there. And it was cool. So, and then after the show, we told Charlie, we had those seats the whole time. He's like, oh, okay. So, it was a lot of fun. So thank you, WWE, for taking care of us. So that was, it was a lot of fun. So we'll get into more our experience from Raw, when we get to that part of the show, recapping it. But, real quick, I just want to touch on, so MLW had their big Fightland show, I guess over a week ago now. Last week, we didn't have a chance to talk about it yet. But it was their big, special that was aired on Vice TV, and the
first Vice special.
Yeah, so the big match that everyone was looking forward to was champion versus champion. It was MLW World Heavyweight Champion Jacob Fatu defending his title against the MLW National Openweight Champion Alexander Hammerstone. These two are like the two top guys in the company.
If you don't know who either of them are, look them up on YouTube and you'll be pleasantly surprised how good they are. They're two big brawling monsters.
Yeah. I just real quick. So they only had two matches on this show. The first match was for the MLW middleweight championship. It was Myron Reed defending against Tajiri, Arez and Amares. I think I'm pronouncing it right, hopefully. Tajiri actually won the Fatal 4-Way, and he's now the new MLW middleweight champion. It was cool seeing him use the green mist at the end in Myron Reed's face and then do the buzzsaw kick and get the pin. My only thing was, it was kind of funny. He did the green mist, and the ref had his back turned, and then he turned back around, and he saw Myron Reed with his face all green, and he didn't question, why is his face green all of a sudden, out of nowhere?
What happens?
Yeah, I guess so. But anyway, so he got the pin, and he's now the new MLW middleweight champion. So that's cool for Tajiri. Tommy, you and I, we saw him a couple years ago with Pro Wrestling Revolution. That was
I was with you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Rick, you were
on Super Crazy.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was like an old ECW throwback match. So.
And it's like no time had passed. But Tajiri looks like he hasn't aged like a day.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the goatee anymore, but he looks in the exact same shape, moves the exact same way. Incredible. And he's got to be what? 40s, 50s?
I think so. I mean, guy, think about it, 25 years ago was an ECW.
And did you know that Tajiri runs his own acupuncture place in Japan?
Really?
Yeah.
And he's with All Japan Pro Wrestling, right?
Currently.
Yes.
Currently? Okay. Because the commentators mentioned, he'll take the title there. So maybe that's why MLW put the title on him, is maybe they want to try to get some more Japanese exposure for themselves. So
sure, they got some great talent in All Japan right now.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I've looked on Twitter and stuff.
That's where we met.
It's hard to find where to watch it. That's the problem. You'll see stuff pop up on YouTube here and there, and it's like, God, this is still good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I've heard a lot of good things about All Japan Pro Wrestling, and even Noah's been doing some good things lately. So there's a lot of stuff. I mean, God, there's just so much wrestling to keep track of. I mean, that's the big thing. we see that every week. But during the show, we saw members of Contra trying to hunt down Hammerstone, but instead they were in the locker room and they got into a fight with some other guys, and Cesar Duran shut the door, locked it, and he says, these guys are not going to interrupt my main event. But it looks like that was setting up the War Chamber match, which MLW did announce on November 6th back at the ECW arena. They're going to have...
War Chamber is basically War Games.
Exactly.
But hardcore with weapons and stuff.
Yeah, so it's going to be Team Contra versus Team Hammerstone, which Team Hammerstone is pretty much Dynasty, him and
Richard Holiday.
Richard Holiday.
The way you're describing this feels like something from Twilight.
Exactly. And then EJ Nduka, the judge, and then they're going to have a mystery fourth opponent, or a teammate, I should say. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's going to be coming up in a few weeks. And War Chamber is a lot of fun. I know, in the past, they've had a couple, and the Von Erichs have been a part of it and stuff. And so they've had some good War Chamber matches. Do yourself a favor, watch the one from, I think, 2 years ago. That was a lot of fun. So, so that'd be cool. So anyway, the main event itself, I really enjoyed this main event. It was, I think, about 20 minutes if you count out the commercials and stuff, roughly. But Richard, we've been very fortunate to see both these guys wrestle locally here. I mean, especially Jacob Fatu. He is from the Bay Area. Hammerstone been making regular appearances with West Coast Pro Wrestling as their champion as of late. And but I mean, it's two big hosses going at it, banging, just knocking the S out of each other. Oh, sorry.
Wow.
Banger.
Pause.
Yes. But Tommy, how about you? What you think of this main event?
It was hard hitting. The pace was, I felt, a little bit slow at times, but overall it was a decent match.
Yeah, that was the thing is, I think in the beginning they took their time kind of just feeling each other out, slugging each other, and then it started picking up. One moment in the match that was a little, if you had to nitpick, was Jacob Fatu jump off a chair or onto the railing, grabbed like one of the pillars, and did a moonsault. But it took a long time to set up. Ooh, what's that? Is that
an old MLW DVD?
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Oh, man, we gotta watch that.
Yeah, there's some good stuff on it.
So Fatu did this moonsault, but the thing was, it took a long time for him to set it up, and Hammerstone was just standing there. So, from a make-believe standpoint, it was like, Hammerstone easily could have just walked away or just attacked him, recovered and attacked him. But, it is what it is. Richard, do you notice how small that ring is in MLW?
Yeah. It's like, I think it's a 16 by 16.
And it's interesting too. Like, I feel like the floor.
It's interesting. It's either 16 by 16 or 18 by 18, but that's the same size as a WCW ring.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, and also I noticed the floor, like the
no pads.
Yeah, like there's hardly any padding there. Like
it's like the Mid-South.
Well, I kind of wish I was like
ECW.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I kind of was like hoping they would have more padding on the floor for them. It was like barely any that covered the floor space.
It's dangerous, Danny.
Concrete.
The padding is for the cameramen.
But Tommy and I were laughing.
I legit think it is. It's for the cords of the cameramen. I don't think it's for the wrestlers.
Oh, really? So the cords don't get caught up in the padding?
That could be it.
Or I just thought they didn't have the
people
money.
Don't trip over it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just thought they just didn't have the money to buy more padding. They're just a budget standpoint. No, but Tommy and I were laughing. The ring announcer.
He looked like just some old homeless looking gentleman,
like lady had like gray hair, all crazy. His tie was
like a mustache.
I don't remember if he had a mustache.
Glasses.
He looked disheveled.
He just looked like, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, he had a pretty good voice. I'll give him that. It's just, but his appearance, it looked like, I don't know if he rolled out of bed.
He looked like someone you'd see in the Tenderloin district in the city.
I don't know.
Oh, that's terrible.
I mean, he sounded great. Definitely like more of an old school voice.
He actually looked a little like Christopher Lloyd.
I think that's Bob Ortiz. He was the ECW announcer.
Oh, okay.
Really? Here,
maybe. I'm looking it up.
Bob Ortiz.
Oh, Ortiz.
RT. Oh my God! Wait, is that?
That can't. Is it? No, that's not him.
No, I don't.
That's
think
not him.
No. Maybe I don't know this, but anyway. But the match itself, like I said, very hard hitting. Jacob Fatu is just such a beast in the ring, and we got to see that. And I'm hopefully by being on Vice TV, more people are going to see his in-ring style. I mean, the guy can go. I like his pacing. Like, he talks to the crowd, talks back to them, but then attacks his opponent when he needs to. Occasionally we'll do like a high spot. And, Hammerstone had a scary moment. Richard, you saw the clip where he went for like a bicycle kick.
Standing. He didn't jump off of anything. It's just standing.
Yeah, standing in the ring, and he landed on his left foot, and it bent, and he injured his ankle pretty bad there.
I was having flashbacks of Sid.
Yeah, I watched that, and I was like, God, he's so lucky he didn't break his ankle. Because you think about it, you're in the ring, and the ring bounces. It's not like a sturdy platform to stand on. So he toughed it out, finished the match. Because even Tom and I were rewatching, he was doing all these high spots still. I'm like, God, I'm afraid he's gonna hurt himself jumping off his ankle still.
He needs to tone it down a bit.
Yeah.
Who's the guy that's getting moved to SmackDown? Who's what's his name? With Pete Dunne.
Rich Holland.
Rich Holland, when he had his
that was brutal.
Ankle given on him.
That was that was a lot worse. Yeah, I mean, I hope, thank God it wasn't like that. Repeat of that. But but Hammerstone, finished out the match. My one little gripe was the finish was very underwhelming.
Yeah.
I think partly because Hammerstone was injured. What's his manager? Jacob's manager,
Joseph Samael.
Yeah, he had the little hook or the big thick nail. He hit Hammerstone in the chest.
Yeah, the spike.
Yeah, and then Hammerstone rolled the ring. Jacob grabbed the table and he laid Hammerstone on the table, put the contra flag on him, which was kind of like, why? But whatever.
It was a waste of time.
Yeah, he hit the moonsault and hit Hammerstone with it, but Hammerstone started hulking up after that, and then they started punching each other.
Yeah.
And then, Tommy, was that when they also started doing the punches, or was that...
Yeah, the punches, too. Yeah.
Which kind of...
No, that was actually before
that. When they were, slugging it out, but it was really slow. It took a long time.
Exactly. It was a waste of time.
They could almost cut that out.
It sounds like it's probably due to him getting injured.
Yeah. Something to kill time, I suppose.
But then, when Hammerstone hulked up, he then didn't do his finisher, but he did another power slam, almost like his version of a modified F5.
Yeah,
and just got the pin, and I think the crowd didn't really react because it just came out of nowhere. Because I think they were expecting his finisher.
And I'm sorry to say, I thought it was a little bit anticlimactic.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to do it again, I think what they should have done is, when Jacob was going for the moonsault, have Hammerstone roll off the table and have Jacob just go through the table by himself.
Right.
And then Hammerstone capitalize on Jacob's miss and hit a finisher and go for the pin. And just, big table spot into the finish, bam. That's a great way to finish the match.
And it looks simple.
The way they finished it, they kind of lost a little momentum and the crowd just was dead for it. So... I don't know. Maybe they need to get out of Philadelphia. They've been doing a lot of stuff out of Philadelphia lately. I would like to see them kind of move around a bit more, tour. So,
yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, if you have a chance to watch it, go do yourself a favor, watch it. It was still a fun show. And I definitely want to try to catch more MLW in the weeks to come. Looks like they're getting some good stuff going.
You know where they could go in San Francisco? Civic Auditorium.
What's that, Richard?
Nothing. I'll tell you off here.
Okay. So we'll see. All right. So let's jump into Monday Night Raw this week. As I said earlier, Richard and I, we were out there at the Chase Center. It was cool finally seeing WWE back in the Bay Area. Richard, man, this is something, you and I and Brian and his son, we had a lot of fun. I mean, I thought it was a great experience. The crowd, for the most part, was into it. But when I got home and I was looking on Twitter and some of the other podcasters' reviews, they were all crapping on this show and
I thought it was a really good show.
A lot of people thought it was bad, and I was like, we had fun watching it in person. Granted, maybe it was a different experience because we were watching in person, kind of reacting. I don't know what kind of the disconnect. Where do you think that's coming from?
I think it comes from people reading too much of the dirt sheets.
Yeah.
And because I think they're looking for an opinion. I don't think it seems like there's a lot of people that can't form their own opinions, so they base their opinion based off of Tony Khan, Dave Meltzer, basically the same person.
Yeah, it's interesting because listen, I know Raw was long. Raw is a long show. I think it's safe to say all four of us there. It was long because we got there. They filmed main event. And then Raw itself. So it was like a 3.5 hour show. It's a lot to watch and sit through.
Yes and no. Because we don't get the full commercial break. So there's stuff going on, and it felt like it felt fast. Like for 3 hours, that's a long time, but it didn't feel like 3 hours to me. I haven't been out of the house that much in a year and a half, so I was like kind of starstruck, just like, whoa, this is great.
Yeah, no, it was cool just to see the production value again, and like being in that atmosphere again.
Yeah, and the new stage, seeing that in person looks great.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing too is. And then we can get into some of the matches here, and I can understand why some people were upset with some of the results and how they were executed. But from our in-person experience, it was a lot of fun. I mean, the Usos making a surprise appearance on Raw, that was great because they are from the Bay Area, so the hometown crowd was super into them. And that's the thing, they're heels, but the crowd was the pop they got was amazing. But let's talk through some of these matches real quick. So we saw a couple King of the Ring first round matches here. We saw Xavier Woods versus Ricochet. We saw Jinder Mahal versus Kofi Kingston. The point, I think a lot of people, when they saw this bracket, they were anticipating New Day versus New Day in the second round. So I think a lot of people were assuming Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston were going to win their respective matches. Now,
I didn't think that. I don't know why anyone would think that.
Well, it just, they thought, the drama is right there of like, brothers, going at it at some point. But what'd you think of this opening match here, Xavier Woods versus Ricochet?
I thought it showcased Xavier Woods really well because Ricochet's been a solo guy pretty much the entire time he's been there. So, kudos to him for helping Xavier Woods through the match like that. Because I imagine that's kind of throws you off a little bit when you've got to be on top of your game like that. But I wouldn't sleep on Xavier Woods at all. I mean, the guy's one of the longest reigning tag team champion of WWE's histories. Yeah. So, he's no slouch just because he hasn't been a singles guy. If anything, that means he's taken fewer bumps.
Yeah, that is true. It was, that's something. It was great to see more Xavier get like just a singles match here. Yeah. And, even at one point, Ricochet, he got to show off some of his stuff. We saw him jump over the turnbuckle on the outside. Xavier Woods was out there. That was an amazing spot. I had the video from our vantage point up on our Instagram page. But Xavier got the win here, which I think a lot of people were excited for because Xavier Woods, his big thing he wants to accomplish in WWE is become a King of the Ring winner. So I think a lot of people were happy to see him get that first win and see if he can keep that momentum going for the finals. But then later on tonight, we saw Jinder Mahal versus Kofi Kingston. And a lot of people, I think, want to see Kofi just win here so he can face Xavier in the next round. But instead, Jinder...
Why is that something that people want to see so bad?
I guess they think in their mind the dramatics of like New Day versus New Day. And like
if that happens, everyone's gonna like people want Xavier to win because Xavier's put it out there that he wants to be a King of the Ring. Mm-hmm. But like, so what happens if Kofi won? They
would hate him.
Yeah, I guess
it's like, oh, you beat the guy we wanted to see win.
there's not like with wrestling fans. Sometimes it feels like there's not a whole lot of, and then what? Like they just want what they want right then and there. But like, what? Okay, you get it. Then what?
Yeah, long term.
Like, that's how this company is booked. Like it's not booked to make you happy when you want to be happy about it.
And then, so Jinder picked up the victory here, which, I think if I had to guess, I think it's probably going to be him and Finn Balor in the finals, but we'll get into that more later on. We saw a couple of Queen's Crown tournament matches. We saw Shayna Baszler against Dana Brooke. Shayna Baszler won pretty easily. It was a short match. And I don't know, Richard, a lot of people were complaining that the Queen's Crown tournament matches that we've seen so far on SmackDown Raw been very short, not a lot of time given to them. I kind of wish there was a little bit more.
I agree with that.
Bone. Yeah,
I'll agree with that criticism towards WWE because I'm not quite sure. It seems like they're giving time to their star women and they're not letting the up and coming stars shine.
Yeah. So Shayna Baszler won here pretty dominantly.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like with SmackDown this week, we got a little more time and that one didn't need a lot of time because of how it ended. But I think part of that as well with Monday Night is that since Shayna is moving to SmackDown, it looks like she's going to be rebuilt as a monster over there.
Yeah.
I mean, they are building her up, so it does make sense she would be eating up
her opponent.
Her opponent like that, no matter who it was. I mean, if it was anyone in that ring, it made sense that it should be like that.
Yeah, and then later on, we saw Doudrop defeat Natty to advance to the semifinals. So, for Raw's bracket, it's going to be Doudrop versus Shayna Baszler this coming week. I imagine Shayna's probably going to win. I mean, if I had to guess, and it looks like the storyline, as you said, Richard, she's kind of being repackaged or reset it as the monster that we saw her like in NXT and stuff. So, which I'm looking forward to.
I gotta say, I'm more of a fan of Doudrop after seeing her in person.
Yeah, dude, she's great.
She's who?
Never mind.
Piper
anyway,
Niven. Yeah.
Viper Niven. She's got like an audience kind of crowd appeal, more so for a live show than you would think.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. The way she interacted with people during the commercial break was great. You know, she definitely, I think, is gaining a pretty good following for her. So it's just there's a lot of things we saw from in person that I think people at home don't get to see, and so and that's the thing. I think, for maybe anyone who criticizes WWE, you need to go see them in person and see what they do with the crowd in between the commercial breaks, how they handle their fans. Did you see
that article that came out about the kids that were in front of us? One of them was a Make-A-Wish kid, legitimately.
Really?
And there's a big article from SF Chronicle about it. I'll send you.
Okay.
My dad actually sent it to me. And I said, that kid was right in front of us. And I said, he was a little brat, and he had a rat tail.
Oh my God. So,
I'm just kidding. If you're listening, I'm totally kidding.
Yes, Richard's being sarcastic, people. So this was another kind of a short match here. So I imagine Shayna Baszler's probably going to win the Queen's Crown tournament, and that way kind of establish her as a badass. And looks like she's going to be Sonya Deville's muscle, maybe moving forward. So I think based on what we saw on SmackDown this week, Bobby Lashley came out by himself, no MVP. MVP still recovering from surgery, but the promo he cutted, just in response to Goldberg, that he doesn't stand a chance at Crown Jewel. Bobby Lashley was pretty good on his own, man. Richard, would you like in person? I believed every word he was saying. I mean, I'm looking forward to that match.
I will say that a lot of the time Bobby is uncomfortable on a microphone, and I think he kind of dug down deep for this one, and he basically, this is personal, you're threatening my life and this and that, and he's like, I got kids too, and it's just like, well, so did it just kind of felt more like from the heart from Bobby Lashley this week, and he was super over with the crowd. I don't know if anyone got a better reaction except for the Usos.
See,
and he didn't even wrestle.
Yeah, I need to rewatch it because we know lately, especially because during the pandemic when they had no crowds, they were like piping in crowd noise during the Thunderdome era.
But now I'm wondering if they're toning it down. It was hot in there.
Yeah, for Bobby Lashley, people were digging him, man. So I hope he doesn't lose to Goldberg. But Goldberg, I'm sure for him in his mind, he's lost a couple already. He's due for another win for his contract or whatnot. So
I don't think so. I mean, look, if Goldberg loses all the remaining matches that he has left on his contract, he's still lost to under 10 people in his entire career. Think about that. So it doesn't hurt him.
Oh, wow.
He's wrestled probably 100 people.
He was what, like 200 and something in
178, 176
yeah, whatever that was. Yeah. And a cattle prod took him out.
Hey,
thanks, Scott Hall.
Hey, yo.
A
segment I think we were all like super getting into the crowd was, so it was supposed to be a tag team match between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. But dude, Richard, it's like all the ladies come out, all the entrances, it was great to see all that in person, and it just turned into like a chaotic brawl out there, and it ultimately ended in a no contest. But I mean, it just shows that like the main event scene in the women's division, dude, it is stacked with talent right now.
Ridiculous talent. Ridiculous amount of talent. I was okay with this one ending in a schmutz, and it just kind of becoming chaos. Because had Charlotte stuck around for the chaos, because at some point when it stopped being a tag team match, she just bowed out at one point. And that made sense because she's not involved. So it's just kind of like, hey, this war is between all of you. Like me and Becky will always hate each other, but I'm stepping out. So I thought that was smart, the way that was booked. Yeah,
because like they try to like. I remember was it Bianca and Sasha? They were like, "I want to start the match." No, I want to start the match. And then it turned into like everyone slugging it out, and then Charlotte jumped in there, and then Adam Pearce, Sonya Deville came out, tried to get control of the situation. But when the match finally started, just whole chaos erupted once again, and then all four women just were brawling it out, and then. And then we saw Becky Lynch get the upper hand and drop the boss or Sasha Banks with the manhandle slam. So, chaotic, but, it's just adding more fuel to the fire amongst the tension between all of them.
I love the transition of Becky putting the disarmor on Bianca Belair and Bianca getting her up in the kiss of death.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, that is pretty sick.
And then main event time. So to start the show off, we saw Big E, Drew McIntyre in the ring. They're kind of previewing kind of promo about their match at Crown Jewel against each other for the WWE Championship. But then we saw the Usos come out, from SmackDown. Big surprise. We weren't expecting them. And it led to them challenging for a tag team match for the main event here. This main event, dude, was so much fun. In person, at least. It was great.
Yeah. So what did the internet think sucked about this show? Like, was it just a blanket statement saying that this show was not good?
I mean, I think they were just upset that the women's matches are just very short. And then there was a lot of other segments that did drag a little bit, I guess, in their minds. But for right now, for all our purpose here, we're just going over the major highlights. But like the stuff that we've been talking about, it was great to see that in person. But the main events. I mean, the Usos, God, I mean, they are so over.
They're so good. I don't think people really appreciate them as much as they're going to be one of those teams that when they're gone, people are going to appreciate. Same with the New Day, I think.
And it was cool seeing Big E and Drew McIntyre work together. I mean, and that's the thing. They have a match for the WWE Championship next week at Crown Jewel. But the way they're trying to add some heat between the two of them, because they're both baby faces technically. But, there were moments where, like, Big E was trying to get in there. Drew tagged himself in. So it's just those little things. They try to add tension between the two of them, which is simple storytelling there. But, dude, just the way how the match broke down. And then at one point, Big E accidentally elbowed Drew McIntyre in the head. And he had a big old welt that swelled up. And he started bleeding hard way from it.
I know.
But it added to the drama. I mean, that's the thing. I know it was a total accident.
But it looked cool.
Man.
Of all the times I got to go see WWE, it was that quote of the one time a year someone bleeds. So I was super happy with that.
But Usos, they did the thing. They went on the outside and they did the table spot and stuff. So, and then the Usos ultimately won by count out. Yeah, so it was a fun match.
It was a fun tag match.
My only issue with the show in that respect is that you had two matches that ended in schmazzes back to back. If you had spread that out, it's a 3-hour show. So if they had spread that out, I would have been more okay with that. But like,
maybe that's what
we just saw one schmazz, and then we get another one.
Maybe that's what the fans were bitching about.
Yeah,
but they weren't there, so it's like. Whatever. Everyone, I mean, from where I was sitting, everyone that was there looked really happy. Like even after the show, like people filing out, it was just kind of like a sigh of relief and somewhat back to normalcy.
And then, even though they lost, we saw them get back in the ring, and Drew hit Big E with a Claymore, grabbed the title, stood over him, and laid the title on him and walked out of the ring while he was bleeding. So, message sent. Yeah, message sent, man. I'm looking forward to their matchup, Drew McIntyre versus Big E for the WWE Championship next week. That should be a badass one. And then, over on NXT, I know we haven't had a chance to talk too much NXT 2.0 lately, but the big thing was the main event. It was supposed to be Isaiah Swerve Scott take on Santos Escobar, kind of more or less the final match between Hit Row versus Legado del Fantasma, because Hit Row's been drafted to SmackDown. So this was kind of like the final match between both these factions going at it. Before the show got going, we saw that Santos Escobar and Legado del Fantasma kidnapped members of Hit Row. So Swerve was by himself going into this match, which I was laughing. It was like his teammates get kidnapped. He didn't call the cops or anything. He's like, no, I got to focus on my match here. That was kind of funny. Right, Tommy?
Yeah, I noticed that.
But so the main event itself was Swerve Scott take on Santos Escobar for the North American title. Great match, and Swerve picked up the victory. So I was like, oh my God, shocked. Like, he's actually going to go to SmackDown with that title. And he said that in his promo. But but right before the finish, Legado del Fantasma came out and tried to make the attack. But we saw Carmelo Hayes and was it Trick Williams?
Trick Williams.
They made the save and helped Swerve pick up the victory. And then after the match, they were holding his hand up, and then they attacked.
Trick Williams.
Yeah.
That sounds like a name from someone from Jackass.
Trick Williams?
Yeah, you got Bam Margera, not Johnny Knoxville, and Trick Williams over there.
Yeah.
So, and then, so they attacked him, and Carmelo Hayes grabbed his contract from the Breakout tournament, and he signed it. He says he wants to cash it in right now.
It was like Money in the Bank.
Yeah, so really it's their version of Money in the Bank cash in. And so, yeah, he attacked Swerve Scott and then pinned him and got the victory. And he's now the new NXT North American champion. And so Swerve and the rest of Hit Row are going to move over to SmackDown. No titles attached to them or anything. And here we are starting a new era in NXT 2.0 with Carmelo Hayes as the new North American champion, which I'm excited for. I guess I feel like that's what we're going to start seeing over the next couple of weeks, is maybe this transition of taking the NXT titles and put them on the new talent that they've been bringing up over there.
Yeah.
We'll see how this plays out. But
I wanted to ask Richard, since we didn't discuss anything about regarding Joe Gacy, I was wondering, because I know you wanted to express your opinion about Joe Gacy and his gimmick. Did you want to touch on that, or by any chance?
I like it. I'm for it.
Okay.
I see that the internet is thinking that this is like a Me Too shout out or a social justice warrior, but I look at him more like a cult leader, because it screams Bray Wyatt, early Bray Wyatt to me.
Right.
Yeah, because so the NXT...
It's good in the ring, too. He's solid.
Yeah, the match started, or the show started with Joe Gacy taking on Ciampa for the title, and Ciampa won the match, but then afterwards Harlan, a.k.a. what's his name, Tommy?
Parker Boudreaux.
He came down and with this shaved look and everything, and he put his hands on Joe Gacy, but Joe Gacy put his hands on his face, and Harlan relaxed, let him go.
And he ran off.
So I wonder if it's going to be like a little partnership there. Joe Gacy's like recruiting.
I think so. Because when you look at him, you take the gimmick away, he's just another indie wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Southern indie wrestler at that. But you give him this character, and he's somebody now.
I wonder if Joe Gacy and Harlan, their relationship, is going to be kind of like Of Mice and Men.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So I kind of wonder that's what they're going here
You're a
with.
bad person. I'm just going to say that.
So yeah, Joe Gacy, he reminds me like a mixture of Kevin Owens meets Bray Wyatt.
Sure.
So I look forward to see what they can kind of do together, the two of them. So that's going to be good. And then looking forward to next week's episode of NXT. It's going to be Ciampa and Braun Breaker teaming up, go up against the Grizzled Young Veterans. So
I'll tune in.
But Tom, you brought up a good point earlier. We were talking off the air. Braun Breaker, you want to see him more?
I want him to have more singles matches, but I don't know why they keep putting him in tag matches. But I was going to touch on this. I feel like
Well, his dad's a tag team wrestler, Tommy. How about that?
Yeah. I know a couple weeks ago I made the prediction that Braun Breaker is going to be in 6 months from now is going to be the NXT champion. But to me,
like in 2 weeks.
Yeah. But to me, I feel like Ciampa right now feels like the type of champion Bret Hart was in the 90s, you know? Mm-hmm. And what I mean by this is the company that's going through big changes, you know, and they needed someone to carry the brand, you know, during that period, you know, while they build up the new stars like right now with Braun Breaker. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Braun Breaker still has a lot of potential and he's still green and all that.
Yeah.
But I feel like they should keep the belt on Ciampa for now.
Agreed.
And leave Braun to grow more as a singles competitor
and
as a
chase
performer.
after it.
And
He's not even had 10 matches in his professional career.
Right.
I mean, he only had one singles match and he's had tag matches so far.
Yeah,
so
but even before he signed with WWE, he had 3, 4, 5 matches.
Yeah. Tom, you showed me the one where Scott accompanied him to the ring.
In the indie scene.
Yeah. So, you know, NXT, Richard, you and I were talking earlier. You know, it's still some growing pains adjusting to this new look.
Well, I mean, look, there's a lot of people, new talent I really like, but I don't care about them yet.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I love right now. My favorite thing on NXT is the Diamond Mine. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, they're going to be a great stable.
I like Braun Breaker. I like the people that have been there,
and I like Toxic Attraction.
Toxic Attractions. There's a lot, and the new guy, the Italian guy.
Oh, Joe Gacy. No. Tony D'Angelo.
Hey,
Pazone.
The guy's a solid wrestler. I mean,
he has an amateur wrestling background.
Yeah, so it's like there's a lot of amateur wrestlers that they have signed now that are
like Braun Breaker. He has an amateur wrestling background.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing with Tony D'Angelo. Simple formula. You spend like 3 weeks with doing vignettes, and then when the guy debuts, he's over.
He's super over right now.
He was so over last week when he made his debut. Yeah. So it's
he had a lot of family from up north there, Danny. Come on.
Yeah.
They brought the ZD.
But I'm confused with Tony D'Angelo. He talks like a New Yorker, but isn't he built from Chicago?
No, he's built from Massachusetts, Boston, Mass. Come on.
Oh, all right. No, I was thinking Rhode Island. I don't know.
One of those. They're all the tri-state area. He's from the tri-state area.
We're from here and there, you know.
I'm thinking because Al Capone was from New York, but all of his crimes were in Chicago.
His big crimes are in Chicago.
So, no, it's great. So, like I said, there are things about NXT 2.0 I'm really digging with these characters. But
going to sleep with the fishes.
It's still growing pains. You know what I mean? It's going to take time to, I think, because they let's just admit NXT or WWE just ripped the Band-Aid off and just got rid of the previous era, and they're like, "This is what you're getting now."
And it's a new look too. So
yeah,
I mean,
so it's a lot to adjust.
The new look. The new look
too.
It's so it was when you look at it to what it was, because they weren't at Full Sail anymore. It was so dark in there.
Yes.
It was hard to watch at times when you look at it, because it's just like the action's good, but it's just dark.
Yeah, dim lights and stuff like that. You know,
I mean, this looks like one of the studios at Universal Florida, where they filmed TNA. It looks something like that now.
Or
looks great.
WCW Saturday Night.
Considering how much time they taped 4 shows in between doing that, redoing that whole room.
Oh, NXT did? Yeah, I think they filmed 3 weeks worth of television to remodel that place.
Completely changed that room in 3 weeks. That's impressive.
Yeah. So, it's still growing pains, and I'm excited for Halloween Havoc. It's interesting. It's going to be on Tuesday, not just actual pay-per-view.
I don't think it's anything to give up hope or anything. It's just, this has happened before when they lost talent. So it's just they lost a lot of talent this time.
I just wonder, are we still going to get takeovers at some point, or... I'm kind of curious, just like long-term plans, what their vision is.
Yeah.
And so,
or maybe they'll do like what WCW did they have Clash of the Champions, but for NXT.
That's what Halloween Havoc's going to be coming up. So,
so it's going to be interesting as far as are a lot of title changes going to happen there. Raquel's defending against Mandy Rose. Mm-hmm. There's a triple threat for the NXT women's tag titles. Mm-hmm.
You have any predictions for the ladies' title?
I wouldn't be surprised if Toxic Attraction wins. Yeah. But that's the thing, by making it a triple threat, I think Indy Hartwell and her best friend.
Oh, I forgot her name.
No. I mean, I'm sorry for Raquel.
Oh,
see, I have a theory.
I can see her losing and her getting moved up.
Yeah.
I think she's considering everyone else just got moved up. I don't think she's going anywhere for a bit. Thank God.
Okay.
But I think she's going to retain, and she's going to get jumped by Dakota Kai. Because Dakota Kai didn't get drafted, and I think everyone thought she was going to get drafted.
I was totally thinking that.
So I think there's unfinished business there, and quite frankly, like, I don't throw this out a lot, but she deserves to be an NXT champion before she leaves. There's a lot of people that have been through NXT that deserve to be a champion, but not necessarily got anywhere near it. But she's been in NXT for a long time.
Okay.
Bayley was in NXT when Dakota Kai was in NXT.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
A long time.
And also, Danny, did you see that vignette for Halloween Havoc?
Oh, yeah. So they're teasing someone's going to debut Halloween Havoc.
It's Dakota Kai.
I hope so, because if it's some Ember Moon thing again, I'm going to be pissed.
She already had a re-debut.
I know.
Yeah, but it's just...
It's like a graveyard, and they're digging away the past, or burying the past.
But listen to the voice. It sounds like a New Zealand, kind of New Zealand accent. I could tell it's Dakota Kai.
So like I said, NXT, I'm still going to watch. I just feel like since it feels more back developmental, I feel like the importance of a third brand is not as serious as it once was when it was the black and yellow era. There
needs to be some serious beatdowns and some serious double crossing and some serious infidelities, and just taking, because I mean, look, they're already using stronger language. But we need to see someone go off the rails, take someone out for a couple of weeks. You know, we need to care about these new people or hate these new people one way or another. So
yeah, it's still just taking time to adjust to these new faces that
it's just
we have to
showcases
like.
Right now. They're just showcases.
Yeah, so it's a work in progress. So, all right, let's move on over to Friday Night SmackDown this week. A supersized episode, so they added an extra 30 minutes this week on SmackDown. It was on FS1 because Fox had MLB playoff baseball going on.
What happened there? Anything fun happen?
On SmackDown?
No, the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. Well,
oh, yeah. I watch.
Damn it,
anyway.
Richard.
Yeah, I know.
Go Giants. Still an amazing year. They outdid everyone's expectations. That's the big takeaway.
Not a sports activity. Anyway, go ahead.
Go on.
So, no, SmackDown this week, they're still building up the crown jewel and going where they're going to go with that. I thought Edge's promo was really great. As far as we didn't talk about it last week. So last week, Edge challenged Seth, because the thing with Seth for the last couple weeks, he's been trying to hunt down Edge and want to answer to his challenge. Will he accept it or not? And Edge last week accepted it and said on the condition of it being a Hell in a Cell match at Crown Jewel, which I love. Like, this is a feud that's like bloodthirsty. Like,
it's
they hate
deserving of the Hell in a Cell that's not at Hell in a Cell.
Exactly, because as we talked about before, Hell in a Cell pay-per-views is like, oh, it's coming up on the calendar. We got to force a couple matches into that stipulation. This seems organic. It's the third match between these two guys who hate each other, and it's a way to blow it off. As far as we see Seth, sneak into Edge's house a couple weeks ago. They hate each other. They've been like taking each other out. Seth took out Edge at Madison Square Garden and left him on a stretcher. So like, it's a feud that like these two guys truly hate each other, and it's deserving for Hell in a Cell to settle the score between the two of them. So I'm all for it. And just Edge just seems very serious. Like he wants to take his soul, right? If I remember, I'm paraphrasing here, but, it's going to be a lot of fun. So I cannot wait for that. And then we saw a couple more, King of the Ring and Queen's Crown tournament matches here. So we saw Finn Balor go up against Sami Zayn in the next round of the semifinals. Richard, this match was a lot of fun, man. I thought it was really
good. I thought this is the best match of the week.
Oh, really? Okay.
Of all the shows, yeah. It was really, really stellar.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. It was just a lot of fun. Finn Balor looked great. Sami Zayn, it looked awesome as well.
It was a great match.
Yeah, I mean, it's just... come on. You're not going to get a bad match between the two of them. So, also we saw the Queen's Crown semifinal, Selena Vega against Carmella. And, I
liked it for what it was.
They acknowledge they do have history together. They were working together not too long ago.
I love that. I love that they both had a pardon the pun, a gentleman's agreement at the beginning. No touching of the face.
Exactly. And, Zelina Vega told Carmella, you don't need to wear the mask. I won't hit you in the face. And then later on, Carmella super kicked Zelina Vega in the face. And she's like, oh, hell no, man. I'm going to take it out. And even Carmella told the ladies ringside, I don't need the mask tonight. I'm good. But that was a good match. I mean, I thought they had a little bit more time compared to some of the other matches. But Zelina Vega picked up the victory, so she's now in the finals of the Queen's Crown tournament. And Finn Balor's also in the finals for the King of the Ring tournament. So I'm looking forward to what's going to be next. A match that I really did enjoy for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. It was the Usos defending against the Street Profits in a street fight. Dude, the Usos with those kendo sticks were badass.
There was a moment where they got Dawkins on his knees and they just wailed him in the back. And
they dubbed stereo kendo sticked him. That was great. And the match was great. Even at one point, remember Montez Ford stood on the table and Pat McAfee said,
"It didn't break."
So, it was cool. He acknowledged the botch from a couple weeks ago when Montez took on Roman Reigns. The table broke on him. So it was cool. Dude, this match was insane. But Montez Ford did a similar spot like Ricochet where he jumped over the ring post, the turnbuckle on the outside. I mean, this match was amazing. And the Usos picked up the victory here. Pretty clean. I mean, I guess clean as it can be in a street fight where they still use weapons and stuff. But I think it's a good send-off for the Street Profits who are now moving on over to Monday Night Raw. So I enjoyed this match a lot. So it was great. And then we saw Sasha Banks take on Becky Lynch. And it was commercial-free. So they went almost 20 minutes, I think?
Yeah, 20 minutes.
It was like a pay-per-view quality match here.
Was, yeah.
As far as the flow, because they didn't have commercial breaks or anything, so they didn't have to slow down.
No picture-to-picture.
Yeah. But Richard, I don't know what you think about this match here. I thought it was incredible.
I thought it was really good. I liked how it seemed the announcers even brought it up that Becky Lynch was a step ahead of Sasha at every turn, and at one point Becky made a mistake when they were outside the ring on the hard or the other side of the hard camera, and it just seemed like all the moves that Sasha was missing earlier she was able to hit on Becky. And it was just now she's getting her stride. And it was just really good storytelling.
Well, I liked how, they started in the ring and then they started using all parts outside the ring as well. So it's they took advantage of the whole surrounding around. That's one thing I just noticed. It was if you were a fan in attendance, you got to see them. You know what I mean? As far as their movement, that's something I enjoyed. It was they went all over the place and it was just shows how intense it was. Bianca Belair was sitting ringside, talking, trying to pump up their match for next week. But then at one point, Becky, was outside or leaning outside through the corner, and Bianca came up and was trying to whip her with her hair. But so Becky moved her hand out of the way from getting whipped, but by doing so, she was still distracted, and that's when Sasha Banks countered for the victory. Yeah. So Sasha Banks did win, I guess, cleanly, technically. I mean, beat a Becky Lynch. So so was it non-title?
It was a non-title match.
Yeah.
Okay. So non-title. So Sasha Banks picks up the victory over Becky Lynch here. I thought it was a great way just to add some fuel to the fire for their match triple threat next week at Crown Jewel.
And then Adam Pearce comes out of nowhere and he's like, gotta hurry
get
up.
Get out of here. Get out of my ring, God damn it.
See, at first I thought that was an accident. I thought it was one of the crew guys saying, guys, there's no commercials. We gotta keep going. Yeah. But then I realized
and even
Adam
Pat McAfee's I didn't know there were commercials.
I love Pat McAfee.
He's great.
So the last segment, we saw Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar do their contract signing for Crown Jewel. And, Roman Reigns, had Paul Heyman look it over before he signed it. And he signed his part. And then Brock Lesnar, who's sitting in the chair, feet up on the table, just nonchalant, stared at Roman the whole time, grabbed the contract, signed it, and just threw it back at him.
It's great because Roman was just like, well, you're not even going to look at it, you big idiot.
You dumbass.
You farm boy.
Farm boy. But then But Brock Lesnar grabbed the microphone and said, "I don't need to. I read it over this morning with my advocate, Paul Heyman." And Roman's face like, what? Like
Booker T. Tell me you did not just say that.
And Paul Heyman was like, scared, like, oh my God, like, what are you doing? So, and that's how they ended. Brock Lesnar walked out smiling, laughing. So, Brock in these small incidents or increments. Yeah, he's great on the microphone. He can hold his own. But what do you think is going on here? Do you think Brock is just trying to manipulate the situation and make Paul Heyman look like he's two-faced? Is Paul Heyman really on Brock Lesnar's side, and it's going to lead to a double turn double turn of some sort at Crown Jewel? Like, I'm trying to figure out what is the story that's being played out here.
I think in the end we're going to find out that it's something that's backfired on Paul. Like, he didn't want him necessarily to go after Roman. He probably wanted him to have a champion on SmackDown and one on Raw. Mm-hmm. And that Brock just saw an open door, and he's a free agent, so he can go wherever he wants. And he's just going to pick on Paul's new toy.
I just like how, Brock is like manipulating. He's like, every time he does something, it's like, oh yeah, it's courtesy of my buddy Paul Heyman here. He made it all happen. And so then therefore it leads to tension between Roman and Paul Heyman. It's like, wait, you're my counsel. Like, do you have my back?
Brock doesn't like it when Paul has other toys. Mm-hmm. You recall when he had CM Punk, that's when Brock decided, no, you don't.
Well, I wonder, like, what is the ultimate goal here? Because listen, we know Vince McMahon loves Roman Reigns. He wants him to be his biggest star. I wonder if the goal here is a double turn, and that way Roman becomes a baby face somehow. So this is leading to Roman becoming a baby face at some point.
I hope that's not the case, because this is working too well for Roman right now.
Absolutely.
And I don't think the Saudi show is the show to do that.
That's like a WrestleMania moment.
I mean,
if it does.
They could, and it doesn't really hurt Roman. Look, when Brock Lesnar beats anybody, it's not really going to hurt anybody, because it's Brock Lesnar, and he's the most legitimate wrestler or MMA fighter on the planet.
Well, and the other thing, too, is Roman, he's a heel, but he's like still the top T-shirt seller right now. And it's like, it's
he's
good
got
business.
Cool shirts.
Yeah, it's still good business for him. So, I mean, I think, a lot of people think, oh, Roman, this is leading to Roman, like, Paul Heyman's going to screw over Roman and realign himself with Brock Lesnar. Therefore, Brock becomes a heel again, and Roman becomes like the ultimate baby phase, because the crowd loves now what he's doing as this heel. And now you get like someone to take him out, then the crowd sympathizes with him and therefore cheers for him again, and Roman becomes like this ultimate baby face. I think you keep Roman, like, I enjoy seeing Brock as a baby face. Like, let this ride out for a little bit longer. That's where I'm feeling.
Wants it. The crowd wants it. The crowd likes, despite what Twitter says, which is 2% of wrestling fans. I think the crowd likes Brock Lesnar a whole lot more than the internet likes Brock Lesnar. So I will listen to the crowd 99 times out of 100 over the internet.
He's still a draw.
He's the biggest draw.
That pop at SummerSlam was amazing. He's probably the only wrestler outside of John Cena that could sell out a building with just having his name on the card and you not knowing what else is on the card. Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely see that. So I'm looking forward to, man, Crown Jewel next Thursday. Noon Eastern,
9 a.m. here,
our West Coast time. So yeah, we'll watch it and do a review at some point for it. It's these Saudi shows are a little tough because it's in the week during like a work day and stuff. So
for me, it's just hard because I've got to watch it before I look at the internet.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no spoilers. So we'll do our best to watch it when it happens and do a review of it for it at some point. So keep it locked right here on In The Kliq, and we'll do a review at some point. I guess on that note, let's start wrapping things up. Richard, where can the Kliqsters find you online?
You can find me on Instagram at Pro Wrestling 101. It's the cool photo of Terry Funk. You should block all other Pro Wrestling 101 pages. Danny just flipped me off. And
it's my Terry Funk impression from Dark Side of the Ring.
You were looking at me and you said, F you, Richard. That's what happened. You guys don't know the real Danny, okay? He's a mean man. He's snarling at me right now. He makes Tommy sit in a corner of the room and use a stool as a table.
Oh, he's got one of the wrestling chairs.
Danny's got this luxury table where it's actually a 2-person table where someone can sit behind it, but he pushes it against the wall and just uses it for himself.
Well, we got plenty of wrestling chairs from shows that we've been at WWE.
Oh, yeah? More than you can store?
Yeah, man. You should come over and sit in one of them one of these days.
I'm good. I got problems of my own, pal.
Tommy, how about you? Where can Kliqsters find you?
You could find me on Twitter and Instagram at IronFist1982.
And I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey83, at In The Kliq as well. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts at. Also subscribe to us on YouTube. If you have a chance, you're listening to this right now, go back one episode, listen to my interview with Bryan Danielson, aka Daniel Bryan. Bryan, that guy, the American Dragon.
Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor, yes. Yeah. We do talk a little Ring of Honor real quick, though, but listen to that interview. He did tell me, he confirmed he does live in Napa, so maybe we can do something down the road. I hope. Well, that'd be cool. inthekliq@gmail.com. Get the merch, all that good stuff. And as always, thank you for all the support. And on that note, let's go home. And that's the bottom line because Huey said so.